So I'm going to hand it over to Lisa for a little bit to talk about a really cool kind of content production tool, just like a teamwork tool, and then some tools for kind of looking at your promotions, your channels, your performance, kind of that reporting stuff. So she'll cover that stuff for a little while, and then we'll go into some more collaboration tools after that.
Okay, I'm just glad that my door got shut again. So I'm in my den, and right 1 second into this webinar, the dog comes barreling through. So if anyone saw his big head over here, I was like, oh, how am I going to get over to the door and get him out? But he's gone now. So yeah, woo, relief. So I'm going to talk about Trello. I'm sure many of you have used Trello. It's been around since like 2011. So coming up on 10 years of Trello. But it's basically, it replicates a Kanban method of lists or project management. And it's very easy to use. It's great for visual thinkers and learners. And it's ideal, I think, for large and remote teams, which we're, obviously all remote right now. So it's just an ideal tool to manage content or projects and, basically anything that has I need to do something, I'm doing it, or I've done something is perfect for Trello. So here's a sample board. On this one, you'll see the kind of the structure of Trello. This big thing is a board. So the board is made up of lists, and a list can, identify a part in the process or a part in the workflow, or it could just simply be capturing ideas and organizing ideas. So within these columns, the lists are each card. So you've got cards that offer even more detail. On this particular example that Nick has in the presentation, you see a lot of images. You also see some due dates, some labels. There's just unlimited possibilities of what kind of information you can give into each card. So you could say, hey, I'm working on this blog post. Here's the image for it. Can so-and-so edit it? So it's really good for all these teams. We actually started using it right away, several years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, with a large nonprofit. And the project we were working on with them, they were launching a blog, and we needed to create 50 pieces of content in order to launch this blog. So the team was comprised of freelance writers, the Arcstone team, their team, subject matter experts, editors, designers. We had just like a ton of people, a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and we were looking for a way to manage not only the project and the content, but all these people so that they could easily see what was happening with their particular tasks. So we settled on Trello, and we've been using it ever since. So power-ups are simply kind of advanced or integrations that offer you more advanced functionality. And they're really easy to enable. One kind of caveat, which we'll cover in a couple slides, is in the free version, I believe you only get one power-up, but the business and enterprise levels, you'll have almost unlimited power-ups. But they can be anything from enabling Google Drive, if that's what you're using, or if you're using Slack, enabling that, or probably the most popular one is just the calendar. Enabling calendar. So this view kind of shows the process of enabling the calendar, and Nick is over in that menu area. That's basically your mission control of Trello. So as you see, it's super easy to kind of toggle back and forth between your lists and your cards and your calendar. Just really easy to get going. So this slide, you see this little animation, it's showing that if I change a due date in the calendar view, I've said, oh, it's due the 27th, you go back to the card view, and the change is reflected on the card as well. So it's everything is drag and drop. Again, kind of like MailChimp, especially of the tools that Nick has covered so far. This one, you could really start using Trello, and by lunchtime have your project kind of in place. So it's really great. There's no learning curve. It's really low bar there. There are, a few different plans. This is a free plan. If you want to just kind of test it out, you've got a lot of tools. You're wondering if this could be the one. And then they've got other options that are paid. One thing to note in the orange, they offer a 75% discount for nonprofits, which is huge. So if you do decide to kind of commit to using Trello, I would say take the plunge and go with business or enterprise level, obviously depending on your needs. But it's great. Highly recommended. Okay, now Nick said before he kind of had some one report area in, I think, HubSpot or probably MailChimp or HubSpot, and said, oh, we're going to be talking about reporting. This is one of the reporting options. So basically, DataBox is a way to visualize your data. So it offers a lot of advanced reporting, these customizable dashboards. You'll see on the screen, this is one example of a dashboard. DataBox, I think, has been around and evolved quite a bit over the years. I think they also started like 2011 or 2012. So it's been out there for a long time. And one thing, if you're using HubSpot, I would say DataBox might be a fit for you because they seem to have a tight integration with HubSpot. They were started by a couple of serial tech entrepreneurs, and their current CEO is a former HubSpot VP. So it seems like the products really work well together, and that's basically why we started using it several years ago. We had a lot of clients who were HubSpot partners, so a lot of clients were using HubSpot, and it just felt like a natural fit. So again, you've got some of the features include the customized dashboard. So depending on your needs, you can have different dashboards that show different types of data and different visualizations. You've got these data connectors that basically these probably over 70 plug and play options to connect your data sources. So typical data sources for you guys might be Google Analytics. If you've got a Google Ads nonprofit grant through Google Ads, you could connect that source. You could connect MailChimp or HubSpot, and some of the tools that Nick is going to be talking about after this one. So it's really very easy to connect data sources. And then performance and trends. You can easily see what's happening at a campaign level. So this screen shows kind of an example dashboard. And they call them data boards. So each one of these little blocks is made up of a metric and a dimension. So think about, like, metrics are basically numbers and dimensions are attributes. So depending on the type of data you're showing, you can figure out like what way visually best illustrates that. One thing that's really great about DataBox is that it's so flexible. You can have a spot to show do some sort of analysis of your data, which is helpful if you're collaborating with other people, or you might be sharing this dashboard with somebody that's not, in the weeds with Google Analytics or whatever. So again, this one, this is all channels in one place. This screen is a screen from some email marketing campaigns. So again, instead of having to go over to HubSpot, look and like, how is my email marketing campaign performing? How is that going? Logging in over there and then logging into analytics and logging into AdWords, you get all channels in one place, and it's really powerful. We surveyed nonprofit. We did a nonprofit survey probably like 6 months ago now, and one thing that most of the nonprofits were telling us that they just had too many like siloed tools that didn't integrate, and they couldn't get a picture of what was happening on a holistic level. So DataBox really helps with that problem. And again, there's like all of these integrations. So really, if you have access, let's say that I wanted to connect my Google Ads account to DataBox. I wanted to come up with a data board that showed how my paid campaigns were performing. as long as I have access to Google Ads, I could easily connect that and get a chart built in about 2 minutes. So it's really very simple. Pricing, again, I think all of the options that we're showing today have a free price point, which is awesome. You can try it out. But I think for the most part, people in this group would probably be in the $49 or $99 option. The free option is great to kind of try it out, but you see you're limited to the data sources of 3 and data boards of 3. You'll quickly get beyond that if you really start using it. Is DataBox right for you? Well, you need multiple dashboards for staff. You have to support different data sources, and you want to have that comprehensive view of activity of what's happening with your campaigns. It's probably a good fit for you. I would also add, if you're using HubSpot, it's really fits in nicely with that tool, and they offer really great onboarding. So if you're not working with an agency like Arcstone that can help you get these dialed in, you could work with somebody, it's a paid service, but you could work with somebody at DataBox that will help you kind of get your dashboard set up. So that's nice. So if you're not like a do-it-yourselfer, it's a good option. Okay, so here's the free option, the really free option. The other one had a free package, but introducing Google Data Studio. So Data Studio came out with this like 2016, and then it finally got out of beta in 2018. So it hasn't really been out that long. Prior to this, most people were really using dashboards or advanced dashboards, custom dashboards within analytics, but still the data from different campaigns and different sources was really siloed. So this screenshot just shows a very, very basic report that brings channels together. Again, you can have these really stunning reports to tell these stories with data. So I think for many people, the nonprofits we work with, they have a large annual report that's 50 pages long, and sometimes those really great stories of the impact that you've had gets lost in this giant report because it blends into every other bit of content. So if you can take out that data from the annual report and put, like this report, this data board together with Data Studio, it just stands out and it's visually pleasing for people to look at. Here's a dashboard. So Nick is in kind of the edit mode. There's an edit and view mode. So you can see that he's logged in. This looks familiar it probably looks familiar if you're familiar with G Suite. So all of these metrics here, the visit set is made up again of like a metric and a dimension. And we can choose, depending on the type of data, how to display that, how to visualize it. So, and that really, matters a lot. You wouldn't, for example, want to say visits and put that into a pie chart, that sort of thing. So Nick has the screenshot kind of illustrates the calendar view. And this is one really large difference between DataBox and Data Studio. Data Studio, you can customize the date range to anything that you want. So if you want to look at data that's from October 15th to November 27th, go ahead. You can set those custom date ranges. DataBox, you cannot do that. You can only, use like really pretty standard data ranges like last month, last week, month to date, that sort of thing. So if you have, kind of a wacky fiscal year or times that you need to report to your board or leadership, that may not be an option for you, and this might be more fitting. So again, you can show acquisition and engagement by pulling this. This is actually pulling in that engagement piece from Google Analytics. So as long as I have that set up in Analytics, I can pull it over here to make this really kind of cool looking report, I can share it with people very easily. You see that share button up there that allows me to either send it as a PDF, schedule it to be emailed to them every Monday morning or every month, or they can simply get, I can simply send them the link to it. So it works like G Suite like that. Again, here it shows different ways to visualize your data. And this, you can actually add, I have a couple little arrows and some notes. So you can have overlays, you can add images. This grayed out image is, you can brand it to your colors, your fonts, your, obviously add your logo. So you can really dress it up. This is just a very basic version. And there are some good templates to get started with. They really give you the option of starting with a template or starting with like basically a blank screen. One thing with Data Studio and DataBox I would urge you to do is to plan in advance. So come up with your list of like KPIs before you start just diving into creating your first data board or report in Data Studio. It's going to save you a lot of time if you first like put together a Google Sheet of, okay, what do I want to see and what's the best way to visualize that? It'll just save you a lot of time. So is Data Studio right for you? If you need to have the utmost control over your design and your data, the date ranges that you're looking at, then it's for you. You have a lot of different custom integrations, data sources. You've got a pretty big community that's working on this. So, they're committed to creating more connectors. Every day you've got the connectors that are basically Google connectors, and then all these partner connectors. So they're constantly, there are more and more of them. And then you can share and make notes, annotate data. It's really a very flexible system. It can be easy to get started, but kind of like what Nick was saying with HubSpot, if you really dive in deep, you want to do some kind of more sophisticated things with how you show and display your data, what type of data you're working with. It can get a little bit complicated. So, you can always enlist an agency partner like ArcStone to help with that.
Thanks, Lisa. We had a question too we'll answer live. What does security look like for using the free Google Data Studio? Well, all Google tools, G Suite, Data Studio, Analytics, they all work off the same security system, which is your Google account, kind of your account, which for most people is their Gmail. So if you're very concerned about security, you can enable Google's two-factor authentication, and then across every Google tool, including Analytics, Data Studio, AdWords, everything, you will have that two-factor authentication, which is definitely the best thing for security, and a strong password, of course. Many tools do not actually support two-factor authentication yet, so that's kind of nice. With Google, you have that built into everything, and it's across all their tools, and it works the same. So that is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And an important,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
one important thing to think about with these types of things, these reporting tools, is the real strength behind them versus just, say, using Google Analytics, is understanding the relationship between your different channels and platforms. So in Data Studio or something like that, you could create a dashboard where you try to understand, for instance, where your donors come from. Are you attracting them mostly through social or other websites or organic searches or your paid placements, or kind of understanding where your audience is and how they behave. That's across all of the channels. That's where these things kind of really shine. So do you have something to add, Lisa?
Just piggybacking off that a little bit, a lot of people will have a gut of something like, oh, I think this is working, but they really don't have the data to support what they think. And if they're, presenting to the board or something like that, you obviously need that. So Data Studio and DataBox allow you to make those decisions, those data-driven decisions.